Good evening, everyone. Welcome to ET Retail. Today, we are here for a very interesting conversation on the online fashion retail landscape, the changing forms of product discovery, and the power of personalization. I'm joined by Drew Mossbarger, the VP of Product and Engineering, Visenze, and Vipul Bathwal, CEO, Aza Fashions. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us.
It's good to be here.
Good to be here.
Vipul, I'd like to start with you and first understand how do you read into the entire changing landscape of consumer behavior and the luxury retail market in India?
I think consumers are getting more and more attuned to, buying luxury fashion because, the income levels of the middle class in India is rising. So obviously the buying power is going up. However, how they define luxury, that is changing. Like earlier, if you see, luxury was more defined by just defined more by Manish Malhotra or Sabyasachi, by those design. Now, they get more into the details of the fabric, like what kind of cotton it is or what kind of color and the originality of the mirrors and all those that are used. So the users are becoming very particular, and due to the impact of COVID, luxury was earlier in our category, at least it was more focused on celebration wear and all, but now designers and everyone's realized that, because of the hybrid nature of the way we work in our day-to-day life, people want luxury in their contemporary wear also. So, that is how luxury is changing, the definition of luxury in India and abroad as well, that people, it's not just celebration wear, it's even in their day-to-day life, they need those kind of designer wear or contemporary wear, which are more, so there is a whole new category called athleisure also, which has emerged. So it's so on the actual wear, what the consumer wears, that is how it's changing and how he consumes that, so earlier luxury was more and more very offline, touch and feel, but given Aza at least is a global business, so the consumers outside India is more evolved, so they are more attuned to buying it online as well, because they have a more evolved product sense in terms of how can they consume the journeys and all that we create on the website. In India, people are, still, the average order value of the products that Indian consumers buy is much lower than what a consumer outside India buys, but then it's changing every day. Like as and when they gain trust in the platform, things will change, I think, in the coming years.
Now, interesting trends there, Vipul, and even minimal luxury is, a very strong trend we see here. And a lot of marketplaces in India, all of them have launched their subsidiaries which are focused on luxury. So it's a growing and very important trend in the Indian market. Drew, I want to get your perspective here. You have worked with retailers such as Nike. You have worked with marketplaces such as Amazon, right? From your experience, how do you read into the evolution of e-commerce? And if you can give a perspective from the side of both a retailer and a customer.
That's a great question. For the customer, we've seen a rapid adoption and move towards the primary media consumption being through social media, where the average user is spending almost 2.5 hours a day on the internet. I think it's about 40% in India now is being directly spent on social media. And so customers are making a lot of their buying decisions based upon influencers and the content that they're seeing there. So that's really changing how customers discover and find new things. I think the challenge for the retailer is how do they adapt and evolve where things are so image heavy? How do you make that conducive to the shopping experience for the customer to be able to find what they've been inspired by, right? Because to try to describe that in words for what you've seen is pretty challenging to do. But to be able to really describe that through an image brings a whole level of detail that makes it much easier if you can bring technology to bear to really do effective image search, to really help customers take these inspirations that they're finding and effectively find them on your site, on the retail site.
Okay, I mean, interesting point on image search. We'll discuss that a little in detail. But before that, Vipul, across the apparel or retail space, we are seeing there's a set of aspirational customers and there's a set of new to e-commerce customers. Now, for the luxury retail, as a luxury retailer, what are some key pain points you witness when you are gearing up to cater to both this new cohort of customers which are coming in?
So in our context, the pain points that is witnessed by a consumer outside India and a pain point that is witnessed by a consumer inside India are very different, because of the fact what I touched in the previous answer, because people outside India are more evolved in their buying behavior. For example, if someone's outside India, for them it is more like, they 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 would be able to zero down on what they want to buy a lot more quickly through the features or the product that we have created. Like, so they would be able to consume the recommendations and image search kind of features a lot more, uh, on their own, without actually leading them to them, because they are used to such things. So they, for them, the pain point would be that, once they have zeroed down on, let's say, 10 products they want to buy, so they would need some assistance in terms of decision making. So for them, they would need like an expert to handhold, and which, so we call it, so we have some assisted sales which interacts with them and then helps them figure out what they want to buy, particularly for a higher order value items. Now if I come to inside India, there at least from an online standpoint, the average order values are still lower when compared to our offline business, because there, the consumers are yet to gain that trust in terms of buying actual very high value products. So they still go ahead and buy, though they are still higher in India when compared to utility fashion category, but then it is not as high as what it is outside India for us. So Indian consumers, they end up, most of the stuff they end up buying on their own, but their average order values are lower, for example. And the consumers outside India, they have much higher order values, and they consume our new features with a lot more ease. The Indian consumers, they take some time, but then we have to cater it through, because we build the product for the consumer, right? So we have to address that problem of how the consumer ends up becoming habituated to the features that we do. So we handhold them through various interventions in the product journeys.
Okay, okay. Just building on what Vipul highlighted, and earlier you also highlighted about image search. In offline luxury retail, the experience of walking into a premium luxury store and getting super personalized experience is what really makes it worth. How does one replicate that online, and how do you think this entire concept of image search or smart search or other technologies as such are helping retailers in this entire concept?
Yeah, I think some of the advantage to online, for obviously you don't get the tactile experience, but you do have more of an endless aisle, right? Opportunity where there's a much broader array of selection, but also because there's so much more selection, how do you really help? It's really important to help guide the customer and help them narrow in on things that they like and are inclined to, versus having to sort through hundreds or thousands of images to get there. And that's really where visual technology comes in, to allow customers to follow the thread of interest, right? When they find styles that they like, to be able to browse based on similar products to that, but then also to be able to refine within that. So maybe they find a particular dress or style they like, but they'd want shorter sleeves, or they want a slightly different color. Through new current generative AI technology and search, you can now bring those together, where you can start with an image and iterate off of that and describe what you'd like different about it, which is a lot easier to do than to say, just describe something purely in words, right? Where if you can have a starting point, you can really expound from there. And so that really, I think that is one of the, they both have their advantages. In-store is that real high touch and feel, but online gives you a much broader array to choose from.
Okay, okay. Vipul, how do you read into the entire personalization and hyper personalization concept in luxury retail? And globally, what are some trends or consumer behavior trends that you are witnessing in this space?
See, personalization or hyper personalization is very key, particularly in the context of online business, because there are a lot of data points that we have, which we can consume to make the information that we present to the user more and more personalized. Now, that information could be text or could be image or could be videos, in multiple forms. In our case, obviously visuals are more important, so it becomes extremely critical for us. At high level, the personalization starts at geo, so like geo level. So it's like there are certain things which we present to the users outside India, but they are very differently presented to the users inside India. And now once and post that, we get into user level personalization, where we look at you know uh, consumption behavior of the user on the platform, and then we start customizing the information that we present to him in the various customer journeys. So I mean, it's not very different from what other platforms do in terms of personalization. It's just that in our case it's very visual. So it has to be it's very visual. And in Azar's case specifically, since it's a global business, so then the geo personalization also matters a lot, because uh, I can use my data points to show what a user outside India consumes versus what a user inside India consumes, and then I change the way I present information to him. So I mean, it's critical. And now then the next level of personalization in luxury is how I can handhold the customer, where I can where I have an expert talking to the customer at the bottom of the funnel once he has reached a certain level of the journey, and then he is about to make a decision. So it's like you have a customer who, like I talked about assisted sales. So can I make it more personalized, where if he or she needs a hand holding, where he or she needs to talk to an expert, can I do that? So that becomes another hyper personalization. Then there's a lot of customization we do on the fly while he or she is in the ordering journey. So that you can call that also personalization, because what we show in the image is not exactly what is being purchased at the end of the funnel every time, because we have a customization flow where people can order customized items, where our designers customize based on the request. So that's also another level of personalization that we do.
Yeah. Okay. Drew, what would you like to add to this? And how do we exactly see personalization as a tool for retailers to offer a seamless shopping experience to their customers? How do you read into that?
Well, customers have come to expect personalization. If you think about how we ingest social media is a failure when it's not personalized, right? When it's catered to you and the things that you like, it's very engaging, right? And makes you feel connected to what you're watching. The same is true in a retail experience, right? No one really wants, especially in luxury, to feel like every time I deal with my preferred retailer that it's like 50 first dates, that I'm starting from scratch every time I go. But really building that sense of connectedness, this retailer knows me, understands me, presents styles that are relevant to me, in fact notifies me when new styles are coming in that they know that I would like and that I could connect with. I think that's a huge opportunity to be building loyalty, connection, feeling known or understood, and is just a huge opportunity to differentiate, right? Down to not only just the styles, but even the sizes they prefer. Are you presenting and customizing the content and the outfits that you're giving in sizes that are available to them? There's no dead ends, and that really help them be successful in that journey.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. I think very interesting inputs there. Before we wrap up our conversation, I want to get a closing comment and understand what is one key trend or technology or one very important metric that you believe will drive or shape up how we see luxury retail going forward. Vipul?
See how luxury will be shaped going forward. I think you know I think the power of the platform will start demonstrating more and more as we go. So like earlier, if you would define luxury by XYZ brands, or which are very well known, or say XYZ designers who are very well known, given the discovery and the personalization technologies that have emerged, right, uh, the platform is now exposing anyone and everyone to the user based on his consumption behavior. So e- any designer or any brand that is doing good work, irrespective of uh, how much time they have been existent for, uh, they will start getting consumed more and more. So the platform will start showing its power, and the platform is enabled by these technologies which are aiding discovery and for designers or for brands who have not been around for a much longer time. So what will happen is that you will see a lot more new designers becoming big by the virtue of the power of the platform, which is again enabled by the technologies which are aiding discovery, uh, and and these technologies again are powered by AI, and so that's the trend that I'm seeing. A lot of new designers who are doing good work will start increasing their reach by the virtue of the platform.
That is, I mean, very interesting, and that is actually, happening. A very interesting insight that we see is, our local and age-old markets of the likes of Chandni Chowk, right? So the stores there have really went online, and we see a lot of them leveraging social media to expand their reach, reach out to the customer more directly. So from being B2B, they're really reaching the customer directly. So that's a very, interesting trend to watch out for. Drew, your comment on one trend you see that will shape up.
Well, I would certainly second everything you just said around the power of the platform, right? That just is critical for the retailer of really having solid platforms that really serve their ability to cater to the customer, to personalize. But I'd say another key thing is for luxury, especially where imagery is such a key component, and so much compelling imagery is being created by the designers and fashion magazines, and is being able to turn those into shoppable moments, right? When I was at Nike, the holy grail of what we aspired to was being able to create outfits and make those shoppable. But we found operationally it was untenable because the work to tag outfit and model imagery back to product and maintain that connection when product would go out of stock was so onerous and operationally just untenable. Where today now with really visual AI and computer vision, we are able to take all the operational cost and complexity out of that and maintain those connections automatically, and even backfill for product piece components that go out of stock to bring in others that are great substitutions that work within that. So really being able to take and leverage all that wealth of imagery that's exposed in so many different places and turn those into engaging, shoppable moments for the customer, I think is another key component that's exciting to see come alive.
Wonderful. I think superb insights there. And thank you so much for taking out time to speak with us. This was a really wonderful conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Balu.